didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic to cosplay to Schitt's Creek to Supernatural and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and on this week's episode, we had a change of schedule. We were going to be talking about train spotting, but I'm not going to complain again about how you can't find it anywhere. But instead, Sara and I are just going to have some fun and countdown and talk about just talk about some of the Gen X movies that shaped us or, I realized after I did the outline, what I should have done is I should have done it by shaped us when we were children, shaped us when we were teenagers or young adults. So if you want to do it that way, you can. It doesn't matter. This is going to be a very laid back episode, just us going back and forth talking about movies. We might talk about the same ones. I don't know. Or if someone mentions one, we might just react to that after they're done talking about it. So Sara, hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me for this one. I appreciate it. So, yeah, we're just going to get right into it. So tell me your first Gen X movie.
I don't know if this is necessarily, it came out during Gen X time frame, but I don't know if it's necessarily a Gen X movie per se. And the reason I'm sharing this is because however many years later, my dad and I still bond over this, is the original Clash of the Titans. I know.
I'm sorry. No, I love it.
I know. It is so incredibly cheesy. The effects, even if I watch it today, I still love it. But the effects are horrible. These are so bad. They really are. But it has an amazing cast for the time. Harry Hamlin, Maggie Smith, Sir Laurence Olivier, Burgess Meredith. It really does have a great cast. But it was one of those movies. It came out, I think, 81. I looked it up the other day, and I think it was 81. So I would have been 7 at the time-ish. So I don't think I saw it originally when it came out, but it was, maybe a year or two later. And my dad and I would watch it all the time because we were blessed and we had cable and it was always on HBO. Pretty sure it was HBO. And we would watch it all the time. And it was like one of our things that we would watch together and absolutely loved. And I can remember watching it again as an adult. I'd seen it many times before then, but with my kids when they were elementary school aged, and they were like, "Oh God, this is terrible." I'm like, I know, but you have to understand. In 1981, this was like peak stop motion. This was fantastic. And like I said, I don't know if it's actually a Gen X movie per se, but it's one that I have very, very, very fond memories of because it was, it was a connection with my dad. And it was something that we enjoyed watching together.
Yeah.
So it probably also shaped my love of sci-fi fantasy as well, because even watching like when they did the reboot with Sam Worthington and Liam Neeson and whatever, and I watched it, I'm like, oh, this is just not the same. It just didn't have that same charm, I guess, to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there was no Bubo. I'm like, where's Bubo? Why don't we have Bubo? Where's the owl? It was one of the films that helped shape my love of sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah, that counts. It doesn't matter if it's not like considered like it came out when you were younger. It helped shape you in some way. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's still one that my dad and I joke about. So
There you go. See?
my God, but it's so bad.
That's fine. A lot of the ones I'm going to mention are bad. It's just, I mean, it's just the way it is. It's not like every movie that you watched when you were younger was like a fantastic movie. Far from it. Or, it's just part of it. It's just part of what it is. So, well, the first one I'll mention is Back to the Future, which you can go and listen to our episode from a few years ago talking about that. So I'm not going to go too deep into why, except to say the reason I've choosing this is the movie that made me fall in love with movies. And it's the first movie I remember seeing in the theater. It's the first movie I remember having that impact that I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with Huey Lewis and the News, that's the first band I saw in concert at Red Rocks, period. But it was at Red Rocks. And so it was one that, Michael J. Fox was my first teenage crush and all of that. So it's just one of those that is very reminiscent of young me. And it made me fall in love with movies and to see what movies can really do, and especially on the big screen. So that's why I chose that one first. But if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it, you can go listen to our episode from a few years ago talking about Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's one we watched. We watched with the kids. Oh God, I don't even remember how long ago, but even they enjoyed it still to this day. They still like Back to the Future. And although there are some things that have come out about Crispin Glover that are not so great.
Oh yeah. No, Crispin Glover, there's some recent allegations against him, but I mean, yeah, a lot of these are going to be featuring people that are horrible people now or featuring things that are really uncomfortable, but we're just going to have fun with it this time. I mean, yes, there are issues galore with a lot of these movies, but we won't get into a lot of that just because we're just going to have a little bit of more of a fun little laid back time with this one. So what's your next one?
Another one, and I don't know if we've talked about, I don't remember if we talked about this one, was Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, we did a whole episode on Breakfast
Club. Yeah, I thought so.
a couple years ago.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I remember in high school, and it was in our English class, and it was like towards the end of the year or whatever. So we had finished finals and projects and whatever. So this might have been my junior year in high school. So we're talking like 91, maybe. And there was a kid in my class, Dylan, who was like absolutely like in love with The Breakfast Club. He convinced our English teacher to watch it in class, which was kind of funny.
That's awesome.
And that's the first time I ever saw it. And it really did kind of capture from that time period, the cliques of high school. Bender, I can't think of his.
Yeah. How the fuck am I? Judd Nelson. How am I?
Thank you.
Judd Nelson.
I was having a brain fart. I'm like, yeah, he was like the one I connected with because I was always friends with all the metalheads and stuff. So he was like the one I connected with. And absolutely, I'd never seen it before because my parents weren't into like those type of movies. And absolutely loved it. And it had been years since I had seen it. And we watched it again. It's funny because a lot of these movies I've gone back and watched with my kids, and it kind of gives you a different perspective watching it with your children than watching it when you were their age. So we watched it, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago again with my kids, and I completely had forgotten about why Anthony Michael Hall's character was in detention, because he had brought the gun to school with the thought of suicide. Sorry, trigger warning. Should have mentioned that. I apologize. At the time, it didn't hit me. Like when I saw it, it didn't. But as an adult and having gone through that, it hit me a lot differently. And I was like sobbing, like just like outright sobbing. And my husband's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? Like, there's nothing. I remember what this was like in high school. Watching it as an adult versus, and this is the same with a lot of these movies, watching it as an adult versus watching it as a teenager and kind of remembering things that I went through at the time, it hit a lot differently. Still absolutely love the movie. And even my kids, they actually enjoyed it as well. It was much more emotional watching it as an adult as opposed to a teenager. But still fantastic movie.
Yeah, that was on my list. And you can go back and listen to our episode talking about it from a couple of years ago. And I actually saw that last year on the big screen. They brought it back on the big screen, so it was interesting to see it on the big screen. So yeah, that's one that will always be one of my absolute favorites. It strikes me more just for the teenage me. It's interesting they said that about the adult, about watching as an adult and that hitting you differently. But yeah, I love that movie. I'm not going to add much at all to that. You can go and listen to our episode on that one. But I'll just piggyback off of that, since I was going to bring up Breakfast Club, but I will also bring up another Molly Ringwald movie, because Molly Ringwald, for me, when I was a kid, Molly Ringwald was my idol. I idolized Molly Ringwald. I wanted to be Molly Ringwald so badly. And I love The Breakfast Club is really the best movie in that John Hughes, canon, in that John Hughes thing. But my other favorite, and the one that I don't think gets as much love, is Pretty in Pink. I really love Pretty in Pink so damn much. And we did a whole episode talking about Pretty in Pink last year, so you can listen to that as well. But this one also holds a special place because I have such distinct memories of seeing this in the theater. And it was on Easter. I was a little kid and we were dressed up for Easter Sunday, which wasn't necessarily something we did all the time. And we were dressed up in our Easter best to go, and we went and saw Pretty in Pink, which I'm sure my mom was like, can't believe I'm taking my kids to see this movie. I love that movie so much. I think it has one of the best soundtracks of any of the 80s movies.
Yes.
It's such a good soundtrack. And I just adore that movie. You can hear us talk about how I think Ducky is a horrible person, to be honest. He's an obsessive, terrible, awful person. And yeah, and I mean, of course, there's the whole thing about how they reshot the ending because originally she was going to end up with Ducky, and then they reshot it. And you can listen to our episode and how, for me, the young kid, I wanted her to be with Andrew McCarthy, who looks like he can't kiss worth anything. Anyway, I'm sorry. Just when you watch that movie, the kissing, especially now when you watch it older, when I was younger, when I was a little kid, I was like, oh, he's so sexy. When you watch it now, it's like, that looks like the worst kiss in the whole entire world. I'm sorry, Andrew McCarthy. It's just the way it's shot, the way it's done. It looks like so, like, I don't know how, like, not forceful isn't the right word, but like awkward and weird. The kiss is just like, when she describes how amazing the kiss is, I'm like, oh, come on. Be honest. That wasn't.
All right, I need to go back and watch it just for that, because it's been so long since I've seen it.
I'm telling you, that kiss is one of the worst kisses I've ever seen. When I was a kid, I loved it, though. But in our Pretty in Pink episode, Nicole from Soundtrack Your Life, because the hosts of Soundtrack Your Life were on there with me, said she really should have chosen herself and not chosen either one of them.
Exactly.
Which I can see. But the little kid in me, the romantic in me, liked that she ended up with Blaine. But, I mean, spoilers for this movie. Come on. We're going to be spoiling all these movies.
I mean, it's like 40 some odd years old.
It's on you. If you
I know.
do
Do we need spoiler warnings at this point?
No. But yeah, but I'm serious. Go back and watch it. Watch those kissing scenes and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, they seriously are some of the worst kissing. It's horrible. And that's why I just crack up when she tells her friend, oh my gosh, it was the best kiss in the world. I'm just like, but then on the other hand, you're like, oh, well, it's because she, that was probably her first kiss. So yeah, maybe it is. Then yeah, I can understand that. But at the same time, watching it, I'm like, oh, it feels, it looks horrible. Sorry, Andrew McCarthy.
I know. I mean, going back and thinking about it, like I originally wanted her to end up with Ducky, but then it's another one again, watching it when I was older. I'm like, oh, ew, no, just no.
Yeah, I never wanted her to end up with Ducky.
No, I initially did, but yeah.
I never did. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back with some more. So we'll be right back. I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional, quote, big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money too. After years of overpaying for wireless, I finally got fed up with crazy high wireless bills, bogus fees, and those, quote, free perks that actually cost more in the long run, and switched to Mint Mobile. With premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month, you could be saving so much money. Since I switched, I'm saving over half of what I used to pay. With those other carriers, I was never sure if I was going to have that 5G coverage, because sometimes I'd be in the middle of watching something, I'd lose connection, I'd walk a block away, and all of a sudden, 5G network, poof, gone. But since switching to Mint Mobile, I no longer have to worry about that, because all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So stop overpaying for wireless just because that's how it's always been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. Bring your own phone and number. You can activate with eSIM in minutes and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. So ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. I use this and you should too. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/fandom. That's mintmobile.com/fandom. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra? See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, Sarah, so give me your next one.
A lot of mine sort of go back to connections with my parents and my brother. So I'm going to go Spaceballs.
That's a good one.
It's one that I can still watch today. And it's another one that I have a very strong connection with my oldest Nate, because we both love it. But even, I'll watch it every once in a while now. And my husband's like, really? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm still finding this hilarious. I'm sorry. But I love Mel Brooks. I know going back on some of his movies, Blazing Saddles, are kind of, oh, that would never be made today. But I can remember when Spaceballs came out, and we grew up, my brother and I, and we still are huge Star Wars fans. So when Spaceballs came out, we both wanted to see it. And so this was 1987, 88, I think, when it came out. And my dad took us both to see it. And my brother would have been 9 or 10 at the time, so I would have been about 13. And the two of us were just laughing hysterically throughout the movie. And even my dad was. And it's still one that, like, my brother and I will go back and forth. We'll just, like, quote Spaceballs all the time, constantly. Or I'll even do it with anyone else. And, I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. And I quote it all the time. But it's another one watching it as an adult. I'm like, wow, not so much me because I was older, but I cannot believe that my dad took my 9-year-old brother to see this movie. Because while it's not terrible in terms of inappropriateness, it's not great either. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm like, oh, I don't know if he got that at the time, but it is still like probably in my top 10 favorite movies. And I am so looking forward to the sequel. I'm hoping Mel Brooks this is going to sound terrible, but I'm hoping he doesn't die before it comes out. Cause he's like 96, 97, something like that. He's up there. That's another one that just absolutely loved as, tween teenager. And, it's one that my dad and my brother and I still bond over. So a lot of the movies I'm going to mention are because of that, because of personal connections. And then there's also some that have, just how I felt about watching them.
Yeah. And the next one I will mention is, and this is because this is why I love horror so much. So I had a babysitter that showed me Poltergeist when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I am not recommending that babysitters do this or anything. I'm just saying I had a babysitter that showed me Poltergeist. And that is why that movie still scares me. Because I know people that have seen it as adults for the first time and it doesn't scare them. And I understand that. I totally do. But when you see it as a little kid, a young kid, it terrifies you. And it's still some of the scenes to this day still scare me. So that one I have to mention because it gave me my love of horror. And, granted that babysitter also showed me The Shining. And I didn't realize it was The Shining until I saw The Shining again because I always remembered the elevator scene with all the blood. Like it was a scene that stuck in my head when I was a little kid. And I was like, what is that from? And then one day when I was a teenager, I was watching The Shining and I'm like, oh, that's what that's from. So not the best babysitter. Okay. Do not show your babysitting kids. You do not show them that stuff. But my babysitter did it in a way I thank her because although my dad would have ended up showing me horror movies, but my mom never would have because my mom doesn't like horror movies. And so, or didn't. And so I am thankful for it, but at the same time, it's horrible that she did that. So, yeah. So thank you wherever you are. I don't even remember your name, but thank you for giving me the love of horror movies by showing me Poltergeist and also instilling in me a forever fear of clowns and dolls and weird trees. And I was always afraid of, it doesn't happen anymore, but I was always afraid of the TV when I was little, if it would go to that, their signing off thing. And because of Poltergeist, I was always afraid of that. So,
oh my God. Yes. I like my dad was never, he still does not like horror movies. My mom had to beg him to watch The Sixth Sense. And even at the end, he was like, what? He still didn't get it. I'm like, oh my God, Dad, I love you. But anyway, so I remember seeing the trailer from Poltergeist and I wanted to watch it. And that was that. And I think it was Gremlins were one of the first movies that launched. Yeah, that's another good one that launched the push for PG-13. Was it those?
Yeah, I think Gremlins was a big one that did it. But I can't, yeah. And I mean, because Poltergeist was rated
PG.
Yeah. Not G. Did you say
no,
G?
Not G.
Oh,
PG.
I was no, it was not rated G.
Not G. This is totally a G movie. Absolutely. Yeah, bring your 5-year-old with their babysitter.
Yeah. It was Gremlins that led to the push for PG-13. So it was Gremlins, but I'm sure people thought of that with Poltergeist. I mean, it's a Tobe Hooper movie, but it's really not, because Steven Spielberg, even though he was just a producer on it, had so much pull in that during the whole production of that it really got toned down. But, there's lots of lore around that movie and everything. And yeah.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think they just recently, I think it was like 5 years ago, because people still will go to the house, like the house that they used and tour and stuff. But I think they might have sold it again or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. But
I think I saw something about that. But yeah. But I can remember like begging my mom to watch it. And I ended up watching it. And then I could not sleep with my closet door open for like years. Years after that. I could not sleep with my closet door open. Why did I watch this? What was I thinking? And now I watch it. I'm like, oh, this was so cheesy. Like, why was this scary?
it was cheesy, but there are still scenes in there when the guy starts hallucinating, ripping his face, like
Oh,
ripping
yes.
chunks of his face off. That scene stuck with me for so long that I really would hide my face when that was coming up. That disturbed me so much. Like, more than a lot of the things in it was him doing that, because it was so like, I mean, honestly, that was kind of gory for then. And,
It was.
it was like really visceral of him. Just
like
ripping
even more so than like all the bodies popping out of the swimming pool.
Yeah, those real bodies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, from back in that time, that is, I mean, it's still like a great horror movie.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I mean, another one, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but just thinking about horror, that I think in terms of horror movies and still scares the shit out of me today is The Exorcist.
I hate that movie. I hate it. I hate it
No,
with a
and I
burning
get it.
passion. I loathe it. I loathe that movie. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I get it.
Loathe it.
I completely get it. I remember reading it as a teenager because my mother recommended it, and then I read it and I'm like, are you insane? Like, why would you recommend I read this book? It was a fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. And I don't know how many years later I watched the movie. I was, older. I was, probably 18, 19 when I watched the movie. And if you've seen it, I'm not going to say anything because it's like really graphic. If you've seen it, there was one scene in it that, after reading the book, I'm like, oh, they're not going to put this in the movie. Oh, they did. They put it in the movie. And if you've seen the movie, you probably know which scene I'm talking about. And how I imagine Linda Blair is still in therapy after this movie.
No, I think she's actually fine. She's fine.
Really?
Linda Blair.
Because
oh yeah, I mean, she was on an episode of Supernatural.
Oh, I know, and I love that. I love that she was on an episode.
Fine.
I love that she was on an episode of Supernatural, and with Dean going, "I want some pea soup."
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, not that that's one that shaped me, but just speaking of horror movies that I feel still hold up and will terrify the crap out of you, The Exorcist, because that's got to be 50 years old now. 50?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it was such a great adaptation of the book. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but it was a really well, it was like, I watched it once and I'm like, yeah, I don't never need to see that again. No. And I have friends that I know that absolutely, they'll like watch it anytime it's available. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
I mean, it's very loved in the horror community. I will tell everybody, we are never going to talk about this movie, ever. I can't watch a single moment of this movie. I loathe this movie for very, very personal reasons. I hate it with a burning passion, and I won't get into all of the reasons why, but it is I hate it. I think it's horrible and it shouldn't exist. So I don't even appreciate it. I can't hear the theme. I can't see a single moment from this movie. And the fact that it's getting another remake, and even though I love Mike Flanagan, I can't do it. I just can't.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, although I will share a funny story about The Exorcist, because even though I loathe that movie, and I understand people are there like, when we like, you're not a real horror fan. I don't really care if you think that, because that's not true. But my mom, like I said, who hated horror movies, her friend, she had no idea what it was. So this was when it was out in the theaters, like in the early 70s. They just heard how great it was supposed to be, and they went and saw this movie. My poor mom, who could not handle horror movies, saw The Exorcist in the movie theater. And she said when she left, her knuckles were white from gripping the seat so hard. She said
I
it was
believe
so... So my poor mom, who couldn't do those movies, went and saw The Exorcist in the theater. So that's the one funny story I can say about it. But yeah, just so everybody knows, even though I'm sure a lot of listeners out there would love us to talk about it, it's never, ever going to happen. Ever.
Even though I read the book and I love the book, and the first time I saw the movie, I was horrified and was like, this is a great adaptation of the book. I don't ever need to watch that again. Ever. How about a nice comedy?
Do I have a nice comedy? Oh, this isn't okay. This movie is terrible. This movie is horrible. It's awful. I don't care. I still love it. And that is Teen Witch.
That one.
Have you never seen Teen Witch? Oh my God, Sarah, you have to go.
I don't know.
Holy crap. I had a teacher in junior high that was obsessed with this movie, and she showed it to us like a few times. She was literally obsessed with this movie. I can't believe you've never watched this.
I don't know how I've never... Robin Lively? Oh my God, how have I not seen this?
Have you seen the top that scene?
No, how have I not seen this?
Sarah!
I know. Oh my
I am
God,
in
this
shock.
is like...
Holy crap, I can't believe you haven't seen this movie.
I can't believe I've never seen this. Okay, I'm looking it up on IMDb right now. I am in utter shock I've never seen this. Like, because this is like my thing. Oh, look, it's Robin Lively. Oh, I love her.
No,
I'm going to go hide under my desk now.
It's amazing that you haven't seen... I mean, I'm sure, like, I watched this as like a teenager, preteen, so that's like different. I mean, I still enjoy it. It's horrible. It's awful. It's one of the worst scripts you will ever see. Horrible acting. There's some musical numbers in it that are just absolutely ridiculous. The top that scene, everybody knows that. It's incredible. Apparently Sarah doesn't.
Apparently I don't know this. I have been living under a rock in Siberia. I don't know how I don't know this.
So Sarah, Teen Witch is about this about this girl, Robin Lively's character, who she is not the popular girl in high school, and neither is her friend. And then she learns on her birthday that she's a witch, and she starts gaining these powers. And she uses these powers to become popular, basically. So, and to also get the cutest boy in school to fall in love with her. Of
course.
Who was like a Tom Cruise wannabe, honestly, with the way he looked. I just cannot believe you haven't seen this movie.
I know. Oh,
I'm gonna have to. It's streaming for free right now on like Tubi and Prime and all these places.
You know what? I got flights coming up. This might be one to download.
I just can't wait to hear you say, "What the hell is this movie?" It is.
Erin, why did you recommend this?
It's like, wait, really? You're gonna be like, "What the hell? Why am I watching this piece of crap?" And it is a piece of crap. It is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. But I still love this movie. But yes, you have to remedy that, Sarah. So I'm giving you homework. You have to at least watch the top that scene. So yes.
Homework, yay.
Okay, we're going to take another quick break and then come back with some more. Okay, so this will be our last, we'll do 2 more rounds and that will be it. So you've got 2 more movies, Sarah. Make them count. What's your next one?
I got to bring up Goonies. Just because it's Goonies. I mean, it had just the cast. Just the cast itself was amazing with so many young actors. And then Josh Brolin, who I don't know how old he was when that was filmed. But it was such a, I don't know how to describe it. Although it's one of the one, it's again, one that we watched with the kids, like, because my husband and I loved it when we were kids and then watched it with them and they were like, oh, this is dumb. Okay, y'all need to just go to your rooms at this point.
You all just need to go to your rooms.
But it was just such a fun, like, little band of, like, in terms, because I don't know how it is now, but like in the 80s, cliques were such a thing. You had your jocks and you had your popular kids and you had your outcasts and your nerds. And I mean, it was such a thing back then. So you had this group of kids, which was like this mixture of your nerds and your popular kids and everything, like, coming together to find this treasure. I mean, it was just kind of such an absurd sort of story, but it was so fun. It was just such a fun movie. And, again, it's one I haven't seen in a while, but, remembering watching it with the kids, and they were that one they were kind of bored with. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? How are you my children? You need to go away. Okay, I didn't say that. I love my children. I would never tell them that. They're wonderful. But at the same time, it's one of those things, like, a lot of these movies, it's like we love them so much when we were kids and when we were their age, and we want to share it with them. And most of what we've shared, they've really enjoyed. My youngest, Cameron, who's now 21, we watched, and I'm not recommending this movie at all. We watched Flash Gordon, the original Flash Gordon, which I hate. I cannot stand this movie. It was terrible. I love sci-fi. I hated this movie. And my husband decided one evening that we're going to have family movie night. We're watching this. And he's seen it. I've never seen it. The kids have never seen it. And the kids and I were like, okay, well, that was 90 minutes of our lives. We're never getting back. So now, from then on, Cameron rates everything from the Flash Gordon scale, whereas the higher the number, the more that it's as bad as Flash Gordon, and the lower the number, it's not Flash Gordon. There was logic there. I don't know what the logic was. He was like, 11 at the time, so who knows? Yeah, I think this one kind of got, like, Goonies got like a middle of the road from them. I'm like, how did you not love this? And they're like, no, that was not. I'm so disappointed in your children. But it was such like, for that generation, it's such an iconic movie for that generation, for Gen X.
I won't really mention Stand By Me because I really do want to do an episode on it. Well, no, I'll mention it. So just because I think it kind of goes well to go off of Goonies with this one. So Stand By Me is like, even though it was about a bunch of boys, I still really related to it and loved it. I still love it to this day. I think it features some of the best child performances ever captured on screen. And it's such a tragic story. And, I'm not going to go too deep into how much I loved River Phoenix, but I loved River Phoenix. And River Phoenix was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of talent, and who was gone way too soon. And it still breaks my heart. And watching him as a young actor and how incredible he was and how vulnerable and how beautiful he was to watch. And yeah, it's just an amazing, amazing coming of age story. And I know it doesn't take place, of course, in the 80s or anything, or the 90s, but it's still, I think it was a relatable story. I'm not, like I've stated, I am not a Stephen King fan. I don't really like his writing too much. There are only a couple of books of his that I like. Yeah. But I love so many of adaptations of his stuff. And this, of course, if you didn't know, was an adaptation of a short story called The Body. And I think it's just a beautiful movie. And Rob Reiner, who sadly is gone, was such an incredible director. And I think this movie was handled with such care and love. And yeah, we will cover this movie sometime. We might do it this summer. We will see. So we will talk about it because this movie has to be talked about on this podcast. And it just hasn't happened. We've had to reschedule it and cancel it. And so it'll happen at some point. So, Sarah, you get one more. I'm sorry. I am kind of cutting this.
Yeah, I mean, there were a bunch that I know we have talked about on the podcast, like Pump Up the Volume.
Yes.
So I'm not going to go into that one. So I'm going to go with, another one that was a beloved family movie that I feel like we went to see, like going to the movie theater as a family. I mean, that was like a big thing when we were younger. We went to see a lot of movies, and one that we went to see probably 2 or 3 times in the theater was E.T. And because that one I remember was in the oh God, it was in the theater forever from what I remember. And, my parents had taken us to see it. And at the time, God, when was that? I'm sorry. I have to look something up because now I can't remember when that first dropped. No, I'm having a brain fart. 82. So I would have been 8 at the time, and my brother would have been 5. So we were little. And I remember the first time watching it, I was actually kind of scared at the time. And, once I realized what it was, then it was fine. But that was another one that also shaped my love of sci-fi and fantasy, because even back then I was kind of fascinated with like aliens and ghosts and the paranormal and stuff like that. Like even as a little kid, I can remember that. So that kind of stuck with me. But it's one of those movies that we loved as a family. And we would watch as a family. And it's another one that was, like I said, as my kids got older, that we watched. And that's one that they liked and was not a bad score on the Flash Gordon scale. It had a higher score on the Flash Gordon scale. So the kids liked it. Although it's another one that, there's a couple that we've got, like Spaceballs, that, when we thought our kids were old enough, that I've gone back and watched, and I'm like, wow, our parents let us watch this. Ooh.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that.
I know. Wow. Oh, I forgot that scene was in that.
It's amazing, the movies we watched.
But like even like I was saying with the original Clash of the Titans, like when I was watching it with the kids, there's a scene in the very beginning where the one character, she's topless, and it's like full frontal breasts. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I'm like watching it with my 11 and 8-year-old or 9-year-old. And, oh, I forgot that was in that. Sorry. So there's some of that, a lot of these movies that like the Gen X, and I say Gen X because with Erin and I being both Gen X, I say that, there's a lot that they got away with in movies back then that you can't get away with now. That would not get you that G or PG rating. That would not be happening. Like even E.T., I think now would be PG-13. I don't think that would be.
Yeah, a lot of these
would be PG-13. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these would be. Or even R.
Right. Some of them, yeah. Some of them would be R. Yeah. Some of them I feel like would be R. But yeah. They're still great movies, and they bring back so many good memories. So.
Yeah. So I'm trying to mention ones also that we haven't done, because a lot of these we've done, like Pump Up the Volume I had on mine.
Right.
We've done The Lost Boys. We've talked about Empire Records. We've talked about Dazed and Confused. So those are ones that I would mention, but you can go and listen to all of those. So I will go ahead and I'll mention another really stupid movie. So I'm just mentioning the stupid movies, but it's another one that kind of played into my early budding love of horror. And that is the movie Night of the Comet. Have you seen this movie, Sarah?
I've never even heard of that one.
I saw this at a babysitters too. So I remember.
Okay, why didn't I have the babysitters you had? Very disappointed in the babysitters I had.
When I told my mom later that the babysitters were showing us this, she was like, I cannot believe I let those people watch you. So I saw this. I remember very specifically lots of memories on this. Okay, so I had to have like something done with my teeth, like maybe just a teeth cleaning, but I had to get numbed. I don't remember what I had done. And then my mom had something she had to do that night. So she was dropping my sister and I off at a babysitter's. And so I remember I had the teeth work. So it was like my mom bought us KFC, which we never ate junk food. Like we never, ever, ever ate that. We ate like my mom was a hippie and we ate like, tofu and brown rice with seaweed and vegetables. That's my idea of a home cooked meal. So we never had like any of that stuff. And so it was like this big, huge treat that we got this. But I was so numb because, having dental work, so I couldn't feel it. So I couldn't eat it right away. So it was like I had to wait. So I remember that. And then watching this movie that is about a comet hitting the earth and the few people that survive and then other people that are turned into zombies. And it's following this group of people that survive because one of them she was in some area of the house where she survived and the other one was in a movie theater, like in the projection booth area. And so that's why she survived. And it's about them like trying to fight for survival. And then the government is involved and all of this stuff. But when I was little, I loved this movie because I thought it was kind of freaky. There's also like some love stories going on, which I loved those as a kid. And especially when it was mixed in with this kind of stuff. And then there's also a scene where they go to the mall because they don't think anyone else is around. And they go there and they're trying on clothes and they're getting all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be so awesome to have this happen and to be able to go to the mall and get whatever you want to get. So that's why this movie was all the memories around it. But I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Meanwhile, they're like probably going to die. But here I am thinking, oh, this is so cool. They get to
go to the mall and get whatever you want. Oh, my God. Yes.
You don't have to worry about money. You get to get whatever you want at the mall.
At merry-go-round.
This is another movie that I actually don't know a lot of people that have seen this movie. Yeah, but it's like it's very much a B horror film. And I love it. I don't know if you can watch it anywhere. I didn't look because I was trying to decide between so many different ones to pick. It's from 1984. Yeah, you can watch it on Tubi, everybody, or Pluto.
Oh, MGM Plus.
Yeah, so you can watch it on a lot of places.
Yeah.
The poster itself, like, I don't know which poster you're looking at because there are several posters, is incredible. Now it's time for 6 Degrees of Finn Wittrock. Finn Wittrock, of course, wasn't in any of these Gen X movies. He was just a wee little child. So, but I'm sure he's seen a lot of them. He's probably even seen Teen Witch. So
maybe not Night of the Comet though, or whatever.
If you've seen that, Finn, let us know. So Sarah, what movie did you use?
Josh Brolin from Goonies was in Avengers Endgame with Chris Hemsworth, who was in Thor Love and Thunder with Christian fucking Bale, who was in The Big Short with Finn Wittrock.
Yeah, the second you said Chris Hemsworth, I'm like, I know where she's going.
Yeah. Going with my Marvel knowledge.
I know which way she's going.
Going with my Marvel knowledge there.
I used Teen Witch because I had a couple of choices, and then after talking, I'm like, I'm going to do the Teen Witch one. So awesome. Robin Lively was in It Ends With Us, and also in there was Jenny Slate. And Jenny Slate was in Landline with Finn Wittrock, and we haven't used that movie a lot, so there we go.
Woohoo!
So thank you, Sarah, so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
You.
You're welcome. And I'm sure some of these movies we will cover in the future, very near future for some of them. And then we've also have covered a lot of these ones that we did speak about. So please go to our website and look for some of those episodes. So Sarah, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Sara Vaquero Barnick. That is Barnaik. Or on Instagram at NateCamMom. That is NateCammom. Or on TikTok at Sara A. Barnick. Again, Barnaik.
Awesome. Thank you. And Fergie the dog, she would love Poltergeist. I should show her Night of the Comet. I don't think she's watched that. Maybe I'll do that right now. I'll go
There
down
you
and watch Night of
go.
the Comet.
I know.
See
Well,
if she likes it.
I need to watch Abbott Elementary because she has highly recommended it.
She loves Abbott Elementary.
I need
She
to watch
loves it.
because you
Sarah,
should always trust.
it's 2
Turkey.
paws up. Yeah.
Paws up.
2 paws up from.
Well, depending about how she's laying. So if she's like broken, it might be 4, but
That's true. Although she loved Nip Tuck, and that was still to this day the most miserable prep I've ever had to do for this podcast.
I'm so
because
sorry.
rewatching that show was, when the show was first on, I loved it. Rewatching that was just horrible. Anyway, even though I still love Julian McMahon, may he rest in peace.
yeah.
So anyway, Fergie the dog, she would love the horror movies that we have mentioned. And she, of course, like we said, loves Abbott Elementary and true crime. And you can follow her on TikTok at Schroeder and Fergs. That's SCHROEDERANDFERGS. It's long, but it's worth it. To find all our past episodes, including ones we've done covering The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Back to the Future. We didn't mention it, so I guess I can't say The Lost Boys. But yeah, you can find that one there. Poltergeist. I feel like I'm missing one, but the ones that I briefly mentioned, like we covered Dazed and Confused, we covered Empire Records, we've talked about Pump Up the Volume. There's tons of movies that we have talked about that fit in this whole world. You can go to our website, it's a fandomthingpod.com. You'll also find links to our social media, including our Discord server on our homepage there. And while you're there, consider becoming a Patreon supporter today. For as little as $3 a month, you get ad-free content. You get episodes a day early, and you get bonus episodes like our episode we dropped recently talking about The Bride, the Christian fucking Bale movie, The Bride, with Carla. And we went into a very in-depth discussion. It's really good. And you occasionally win prizes, like for our upcoming marathon streaming event, which is taking place on Saturday, May 16th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we just stream, or I stream for 12 hours and have guests on. We play trivia. We're going to do something as a belated birthday celebration for Christian Bale. A couple of other things we have in the works for that. And we do give away some prizes to some of our Patreon subscribers. So click the link in the show notes or head on over to the Support Us tab on our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. And next week, get ready to cry. Get those tissues out because Carla and Tiff are joining me. That's not why you're going to cry. But Carla and Tiff are joining me to discuss. I'm sorry. Sarah just held up some tissues. So Carla and Tiff are joining me to discuss My Girl. So until next time, remember it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and Free Palestine.